This video will discuss and explain Unit 1, the rhetorical analysis. So once you click on the assignments link here in Blackboard, you'll click on Unit 1, the rhetorical analysis. And this particular essay will focus on the discipline of cultural studies. The rhetorical analysis essay will be in MLA format. This will be an analysis of a movie speech. Cultural studies is an innovative, interdisciplinary field of research and teaching that investigates the way in which culture creates and transforms individual experiences, everyday life, social relations, and power. So if you click on this link, you have reading assignments, writing assignments, and helpful resources. Okay, so you'll want to click on reading assignments first. You have 2 different chapters in your textbook to read. Also, this particular PowerPoint goes over the rhetorical analysis in detail. And then this video discusses how to set up an essay in the correct MLA format. Everyone needs to make sure you click on this to know how the essay should be set up, because you do not want point deductions for not formatting correctly. So be sure to look at those videos. All right, if we were to go back and click on writing assignments, well, before we do that, let's click on resources. Resources here, this is where, all of the good stuff is to help you through writing a paper. And this will be, as it's set up in every unit. You've got the basic essay guide here. Then you've got a little bit more about what cultural studies is, cultural trends, societal trends, appeals. You're going to need to know this for the purpose of writing this essay, Aristotle's persuasive appeals. So make sure you click on that and study it. And then you've got tips for writing a rhetorical analysis. And if you scroll down, I have an actual example of a speech that I chose from Footloose. And you can click on this, watch the short speech, and then down here is a sample that is related to the Footloose clip. It's a sample rhetorical analysis, so you can kind of see how it was done. Now, nobody should write about the Footloose movie or the speech. This is just for sample purposes only. Again, here's the rhetorical analysis PowerPoint again. And then any MLA resources that you might need are here. And these are just added information and links about plagiarism. And then, of course, I always add the Writing Center Assistance link in here for additional tutoring should you need it. So the link will be in there, and it'll also be offered in all the other units as well. Okay, so that's the resources folder. And then you've got the writing assignments folder. This is where all your assignments will be. Here's the video that we are doing right now. Unit 1 due dates. You've got 2 due dates. One is a first draft of the rhetorical analysis, and then the other is the final draft. Here are the due dates. Again, this explains a little bit more about rhetorical analysis in the field of cultural studies. So students will be looking at movie speeches. They'll be breaking them down into strategies or appeals used by the speaker to create an effective, very likely persuasive piece. So most movie speeches are based on societal or community issues. So the speaker uses tools to help convince, encourage, or inform the audience. Students will focus on these tools used by giving analysis and specific examples from the speech itself. And this is not about a movie. This is about a movie speech. It's a particular speech that is pulled from a movie, and you guys get to choose that. I'll show you how to find that in a minute. And then what you'll do is you will explain how this speech is effective to the intended audience. Here's the link for the first draft. Here's the link for the final draft. Be sure you submit the correct draft to the correct link. Here is a copy of grading comments with explanations. What this means is if you get your feedback returned from your first draft and you don't understand what CS means or RO means, if I type that in there, this document explains my comments, my abbreviations, and it gives explanations. And again, here's the Writing Center Assistance link. So let's look at the rhetorical analysis instructions, which are right here in this first link. So you click here. Please be mindful that the first draft submission is considered to be a rough draft, but it needs to be as finalized and as perfect as possible, because that grade is averaged in with the final in order to determine your overall grade for this essay. So really you need to give your best effort on that rough draft, that first draft. Okay, for the rhetorical analysis, movie or historical speech related to today's culture, you'll examine the effectiveness of a popular movie or historical speech. This essay will help you develop some analytical skills, and you'll apply those skills to this essay. You're looking at examining the use of persuasive techniques and their effectiveness in the movie speech that you choose. Remember, you're not writing about the movie. You're not writing an analysis of the movie. You are only writing an analysis of the speech itself and its effectiveness, the speaker's effectiveness to reach his or her audience. And the goal of the paper is also not to summarize. We're not summarizing the speech. We're not summarizing the movie. We are analyzing. We are looking a little deeper than the surface. You will find listed here, there are two websites, the American Rhetoric website and Best Film Speeches and Monologues website. Okay, there's two choices. So you can click in those, and then you can kind of explore all the different movie speeches that are out there, or historical speeches that are out there. Or you can click on Best Film and Speeches and Monologues and look through there and see if you find any that aren't in this one, or one that you really want to do. But all students must use one of these two websites to find a speech. So your speech has to come from one of these two. Okay? Essay guidelines. It needs to be at least 2 full pages in length. That means all the way down to the end of the second page. So it has to be at least 2 full pages. And then you'll have a works cited page attached at the end. And that works cited page will only have one source on it, which will be the speech source. And I'll show you how to cite that in just a second. So only the speech source from one of these two links up here should be referenced or cited on that works cited page. While MLA does indicate that when using just one source, no citations are needed, students will need to cite the speech source both on a works cited page and that same source within your essay. I'm doing this, and I'm requiring this so that students kind of get in the habit of citing sources and citing sources correctly, because all the future essays in this class are going to require documentation. So you'll see the next page for very important citation info. Organization. Keep the 5-paragraph guide in your mind. You'll have your introduction, you'll have your 3 body paragraphs, and then you'll have your conclusion. So kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about writing this paper. Here is the paper kind of broken down, and it tells you what each paragraph should have in it. Your introduction paragraph should start with an attention grabber, then connect to the next sentence by giving a really short summary of what's happening in the movie at the moment that the speech is given. Like you're given some context and you're setting up the purpose of the speech and why it was given, telling who the speaker is and basically what the purpose is for giving the speech and who the audience is. The last sentence of your introduction should be your thesis statement, it's one sentence, it's not a question, and it should assert whether the speech is effective and why or how it relates to contemporary American culture. Your body paragraphs, you should have 3. You will use at least 2 out of the 3 rhetorical appeals in your body paragraphs to analyze your speech: logos, ethos, and pathos. Remember that link I told you about? And it's either the reading folder or the resources folder. You'll need to make sure you click on that link to know the difference between the 3. In addition, you can have an additional paragraph that would discuss another persuasive technique used by the speaker, like using repetition. The setting of the speech might be very important. Or your speech may include all 3 of the persuasive appeals. The speaker may have used ethos, logos, and pathos. And if that's the case, that's great, because there are your 3 body paragraph topics. So you're good to go. To develop and support your points, you will use very specific evidence in the form of examples and short quotes from your speech. So use and cite all quotes. And again, don't forget to have a separate conclusion. Your conclusion should remind the readers of your main idea and invite them to speculate further about the movie speech you are analyzing. You're going to summarize your analysis of the effectiveness of the speech and why it was effective. And you can even, at that point, give an outcome. Give the outcome of the speech. Did the speech actually work? Did it actually convince the audience of the speaker? If it didn't, that's fine, but at least you could definitely tie in that the speaker did all he or she could in order to convince the audience. Rules for writing this paper. There are no contractions, none. So you have to be careful with this, and we are very used to writing with contractions. Don't, won't, can't, your, all of those need to be written out. Here, do not, will not, cannot, you are. Contractions are considered informal writing and not allowed. There's no first person. Do not use wording like I, me, my, us, we, our. And there's no second person. Don't use words like you, yourself, or you are, or your. Again, be sure to use MLA format. See the video and documents in this unit to know how to format your essay correctly. Proofread and edit for grammar errors. Make sure you do this before you submit your first draft. And be sure to document and cite that one source on your works cited page, but also cite it within your essay when you use quotes from it. So again, if you look right here, it says the only source you need to cite in your paper is the speech. So below is a sample works cited entry for a movie speech from the American Rhetoric website. It's the first website listed at the top of the instructions, which is published by Michael Edenmuller. He is the publisher for all of the speeches on the website, so you'll need to follow this exact format. You only need to change the title of the speech, the year of the movie, and then change the URL or the link to fit the movie you chose. Citations should look like this. And here's exactly how it should look. Okay, now this one is an example from Legally Blonde. So if you're going to write about the Legally Blonde speech, then you can use this. Just copy and paste it. But if your speech is different, obviously, this right here will change based on whatever speech you choose from that website, and the year and the link down here will change to fit your particular speech. But this Edenmuller, Michael right here, that's going to be the same. It's going to be the same for everyone who has a speech from this website. And when you cite this source within your paper, it's supposed to look like this. In the body of the paper, use the publisher's last name in the parentheses. Okay, so it gives you the examples here. Same if you use the film site. If you use the film site website to find your speech, then your source on your works cited page, your citation should look exactly like this. So please be sure you follow these two specifically based on which website you got your speech from. All right, here are a couple different speeches that are very popular among students, and you don't have to choose from these. There are tons of others out there. Independence Day is a good one. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Remember the Titans has a really good speech. George Bush's 9/11, post 9/11 speech. Friday Night Lights, A Few Good Men, 10 Things I Hate About You, Saving Private Ryan, Princess Diaries, The Patriot, Radio, Sully, The Family Man, To Kill a Mockingbird, Legally Blonde, My Cousin Vinny. I mean, there are tons more, but these are what students typically usually write about. There are specific speeches in each one of these that are found in these websites up here. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, but I really want to reiterate that you have to cite your sources just like these directions indicate it. So it's going to depend on which website you get your source from, your speech from, and it has to come from one of these websites that I provided at the beginning of the instructions. If you look at the last page, it will tell you exactly how to cite it. So if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me before you submit. Thank you.